Page 8. Page 9. Eleven. Twelve. Last page 13. Thank you. Can someone please move?
I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any second.
I say second, Mr. Speaker.
All in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
For Thursday, 30th June 2022 has been adopted.
Before I give the floor to the leader of the opposition who has requested it, I want to admonish everybody present in the gathering. All of you in the gallery, lower and upper, you are here as visitors. Visitors to the Honorable House of Parliament. Your Parliament. The members of Parliament seated here, including myself, are your representatives. And I want to implore all of you who are here to listen. So please do so with absolute decorum. Quiet. You are supposed to be seen and not heard. Those are the rules of this house. Every self-respecting citizen is entitled to come here as a visitor in a democratic fashion, which enjoins each and every one of you to obey the first law of democracy, and that is to respect the law. That's the first law of a democratic institution. This institution is democratic, and I expect every single one of our visitors here to be mindful of that. If I hear any misconduct or misbehavior or anything untoward coming from the gallery, I will order that the galleries be cleared by the Sergeant at Arms and the security of this house. Let me repeat. We are here to witness the proceedings of the House, not to participate in them. So I hope with those few remarks, the comportment that is required of you will be forthcoming. And I will get no noise, no interruptions of any kind from both the upper and the lower galleries in the proceedings of this House today. Thank you for listening, and I hold very high expectations for the good behavior of all of you. Thank you. Leader of the opposition, yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, firstly, may I say that we are shocked and surprised that you entered the chamber in the middle of our conversation and negotiation. We were in your offices, all of us, Mr. Speaker. We had conversations and we agreed that we will leave for a quieter place in our offices upstairs, and when you're done with the sergeant at arms, you will call on us again, just for us to meet you in the chamber, Mr. Speaker. That is, Mr. Speaker, all due respect, that is shocking, and we are surprised why that happened, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, our position when we met you in the office is still the same. We appreciate the statement you have issued out to the quote-unquote visitors, because these are not just visitors, Mr. Speaker. They are invited. They are invited, Mr. Speaker, and we have some of them on tape. Mr. Speaker, I was insulted, my colleagues were insulted. In this chamber, it has never happened before. In addition to threats, using invectives, fortunately for me, a senior official was in the chamber. I invited him and informed him of what transpired, and I pointed towards the direction. A senior official. Mr. Speaker, we are not safe, we are not comfortable. Let the visitors leave us for us to continue the business of life. We are not safe. Mr. Speaker, we don't want it to be misinterpreted to say that when we leave, you cannot continue the business of the House, because we deliberately know that we are dealing with constitutional amendments. No, we want to participate. We don't want to hold the House to ransom. And we know without the core, the number, you will not go into second reading. Nothing will happen. We don't want to be part of that. We don't want to hold the House to ransom. We want to carry on with the business of the day, but we want to do so under a conducive and a safe environment, Mr. Speaker. As it is, we are not convenient, we are not comfortable, and we don't want to hold the House back.
Leader of the opposition, let me try to attenuate your shock, as you put it. That I came into the chamber without your presence. We agreed in my chamber that I will call you after receiving the assurances that I asked for from the sergeant at arms. If you check your two numbers, and I have two numbers for you, I called both of them, and both of them were engaged continuously.
Yes.
Both numbers were engaged continuously, Mr. Leader of the Opposition. What did you expect me to do after that? The question is for the Leader of the Opposition and no one else. So I did not come into the chamber in breach of the agreement I had with you. I tried to reach you on both your numbers, and neither of them answered me. In this circumstance, you left me with no option but to come and do my duty to the nation. Secondly, you found me considering the votes and proceedings. And immediately after that, you must have heard, as I'm sure the rest of the honorable members did, admonishing the visitors we have in both galleries. I'm making it abundantly clear that should I receive as much as a single misbehavior or misconduct on the part of any visitor, I will be left with no option but to ask for the entire galleries to be cleared, to allow the proceedings of this House to take place in the decorum they deserve. I'm saying it by way of repetition again. I am responsible for the safety of all honorable members of this House. And that duty, I'm ready to discharge at any time. If I feel unsafe, and I feel that the House is unsafe, I will take appropriate action at that moment in time. But it is their right to come to their House of Parliament and to and with that admonition, I'll wait and see what transpires. I cannot prejudge their conduct in any shape or form. But I will listen attentively and ensure that the admonition I've given to is adhered to.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, again. Mr. Speaker, like you said, you called my two numbers. Yes, you called my two numbers. In less than 3 minutes, I called you back. In less than 3 minutes, I called you back. And normally, when you send for any one of us, we had an agreement that we should go back to your office, Mr. Speaker. Nobody was dispatched by you to say the Sergeant at Arms has returned and you're waiting on us. So, Mr. Speaker, that part of your statement is not consistent with what we agreed upon. Mr. Speaker, there was nothing stopping the usual practice. If you call and you don't get, you send. That did not happen, Mr. Speaker. So that is just one. And secondly, Mr. Speaker, I am also shocked when, for the second time, to say when your safety, then you will take the necessary steps. Our safety, you are not taking the necessary steps, Mr. Speaker. You associated, yes,
I said I am responsible for the safety of
this. I had that. Yes, I had it. But when you were concluding that part of the statement, you said when your safety is threatened, you started with that before moving forward. Then you will advise yourself accordingly. No, it cannot be generic. Myself is not generic. Myself is not. Mr. Speaker, there is nothing. People are outside who want to come in. Even a journalist who left her card has been stopped from coming in. But there have been people here since 6 a.m. in the morning. As I said to you in your chamber, since 6 a.m. People were here. Mr. Speaker, there is nothing wrong in ensuring that we are safe and satisfied with our safety. We appreciate your effort, but your words are not sufficient to convince us about our safety at this moment, considering what transpired this morning, Mr. Speaker. We are not. And as I said, I will repeat again, Mr. Speaker, we are going to deal with constitutional amendments. If we do not participate, we know what the implications are going to be. And we don't want to hold this house to ransom. We want to participate. We don't want to hold the house to ransom. We don't want to deprive this house of the number that will be required to arrive at the conclusion. We don't want to. But if we are forced to, we will be left with no alternative but to do accordingly, Mr. Speaker.
The only thing I would like to add in response to your last statement is that the very first time we engaged in a conversation this morning was by telephone. You recall that?
Yes, yes.
And based on that telephone call, you came to my chamber. You did not come as a result of my having sent the Sergeant at Arms or anyone else.
Definitely, Mr.
Similarly, I expected you with 2 telephone numbers. If one was engaged, I never expected the other to be engaged as well. But both of them were engaged at the same time.
It just shows what we are under.
How it happened, I cannot explain
It
that.
just shows what we are under, the threat we are under. People are calling everything.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Hold a minute. I'm looking at the time. We were supposed to start the proceedings of this house at 10.
Blame me for that.
I did not come here until much after that time. In fact, I think very close to midday before I entered this chamber. So don't take umbrage at the fact that I came into the chamber after failing to communicate with you. That was not correct. I attempted to communicate with you, but it became impossible. In these circumstances, I advised myself to come and carry out my national duty.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Speaker,
it is not an umbrage, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, time is past 12. I therefore move that we suspend this to 5-2, so business of the House will continue.
Any seconder to the motion?
I so second, Mr. Speaker.
All in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay.
Nay!
The ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker,
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I have to respond. Mr. Leader, I am pleading with you. Let me respond because he has referred statement from me. Please, sir.
I'm looking at your conversation.
I want to respond to his.
Private than the group of the House.
Yeah, no, let me just respond because the cameras are on, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, like you said.
By the way, that's my phone ringing. So had you telephoned, you would have rang.
I did not. I called you and you picked up seated there, Mr. Speaker. It did, and we spoke while you were there. But let me respond to your statement first, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you said I should not take umbrage. But you will still recollect in the morning when you called before we had the meeting. We arrived at your office probably even 30 minutes later, but you were patient enough to wait. As I said now, in less than 5 minutes, Mr. Speaker, you had the courage to come into the chamber without calling us to come to your offices. If there is an agreement, it is an agreement, Mr. Speaker. If there is an agreement, it's an agreement.
And in those circumstances, knowing fully well that I had sent a messenger to ascertain the status of security of the house, I would have thought, if at all there was a compelling reason for you to answer one phone, you'd have left the other free.
Mr. Speaker, my phones were ringing from everywhere. People are worried. People are concerned. They are calling all our phones together.
Mr. Speaker, point of
People are concerned.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Thank you, Honorable Leader. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We have the order of the day and we have the order of business. We are fully aware of the order paper. It's well loaded. 1, 2, I consider, and the rest of other members of the House, your discussion in your chamber was very private. We are not part of it, but we have to discuss matter of state importance. So we are asking that you share that one off so we can continue the business of the House for today. Let's go. 2, Mr. Speaker, we are bounded with 2 instruments, the Constitution and the standing orders. I refer members to SO 79 of the standing orders. SO 79. Mr. Speaker, I will not bother to read, but it's your duty to accept members in the chamber and withdraw them when necessary. It's very clear in the standing order 79. So I urge my colleagues that with most said about their security and federal government business, let me assure you, and leaders of years, that your security, in as much as security is not by police also on the other side, and the parliament, the C4C and the NDC, all of us, our security is very, very paramount. So let me assure you that you are safe, you are sound and well in this chamber. Any attempt by anybody to obstruct the city will be taken care of decisively as we did when we are taking the oath of office. Anybody on this other side, or the other side, or the other side, will be taken care of. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we We are very quiet when the leader was speaking. I know there is a lot of speculations and anticipation in discussing so much vital issues in front of us. But Mr. Speaker, let me say this. We have a constitutional instrument in front of us. We know our duty and we know our responsibilities. We are poised to do the needful to correct the imbalances of yesteryears. We are poised to do so, but under the full force of the law. So I want my colleagues, let us participate. Let us participate. And let us serve as a testament for good governance in our democracy. I rest my case. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I'm standing on SO 71. And Mr. Speaker, the reason why I'm standing on SO 71 because I heard the leader of the opposition saying that if they walk out, the business of the house will not continue. They want to hold the house to ransom. It's not okay. For the edification of the public. For the edification of the public, Mr. Speaker, I want to read SO 1. We talk SO 71, who talks about quorum. 7. Quorum. Mr. Speaker, I want the public to know that we have quorum in this house, and that is what the house, the SO is talking about.
What about this thing? What don't tell you?
I don't think the question of having a quorum or not is the issue.
That is the point. My colleague is missing my point. Maybe I was not too elaborate. Let me just refer him to read the specific standing order he has referred this house to section 108 of the Constitution. Let him just tie the two and synchronize them.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Leader, Mr. Leader, no. I know what I'm talking about, Mr. Speaker. And I deliberately chose my words not to obstruct. As I said, I don't want to serve, nor my colleagues as obstruct to the progress of this house.
Point of order, sir. Mr. Speaker, 148 subsection B is sacrosanct. Can we continue, sir?
We will continue, but I just want
We are clear on that.
No, I want to make it abundantly clear that the question of a quorum has never been an issue this morning.
No, never. Yes. No, definitely.
And let me also assure the House, I have people here that advise me as to whether there is a quorum in the House or not. And I was assured there was before we proceeded. And that is sufficient for me.
Mr. Speaker, can I observe? Mr. Speaker, I want to take a leaf from the leader of the opposition. In August 2012, on the 14th of August, this House was debating the issue of the election of Speaker to act in the state of the
I will not entertain that observation. Let us get on with the business of the day. Let us get on with the business of the day.
Mr. Speaker, we still want to reaffirm that as it is, we are not safe. We have been told that they will use the law to its fullest. I don't know what that means. Because that is illegal. Yes, I don't know what it means.
I clarify that one. As any obstruction, anybody attempting to obstruct the city of a day.
But they have attempted, Mr. Leader.
We are here now. We are
not comfortable. We are in
I was
panic.
not here.
We are worried, Mr. Speaker.
We have a full city, big city now. I was not here.
Yeah, Mr. Leader.
Yes, sir.
I understand your position and I respect you as always. But Mr. Speaker, we have to be in a certain condition and a frame of mind to function effectively. You don't want us to deliver haphazardly. We are here to represent the views of people. As we feel intimidated, we are not comfortable. Our temperature is not as normal. It is not. Some of us are just seeing the doctors. We are not. We are feeling intimidated, Mr. Speaker.
I'm no medical doctor.
No, one of our colleagues have just left to see the doctor. One of our colleagues just left. Our environment is not conducive to work effectively. And as the Speaker of this House, your duty is to protect your members. When your members are not okay, it should be incumbent upon you to do what is needful and ensure that they are okay. As it is, Mr. Speaker, we are not.
Hold on. Let me assure all honorable members. Let me assure all honorable members that I will not be found wanted in the discharge of my responsibilities to ensure your safety in this house. My safety is yours and yours is mine. And I have made it abundantly clear. No member of parliament should feel unsafe in the hands of another member. However, because of the visitors, strangers that we have in the two galleries above, let me repeat again what I said.
We're not comfortable.
I think, let me use SO2. I'm using SO2 to speak the language that we all understand. The official language of this house is English, but I'm going to change it for a moment and speak in Creole so that everybody will understand. Una the visitors then, una the strangers then where they amongst we. The strangers then are the one then we occupy the upper and lower gallery and this house. This is a house, a honorable house of parliament. Now they make laws. Now representatives they will not be voted for, they can. So can carry out the duty will not vote them for. And that duty they very clearly in the Constitution. The law will control this country, control every single officer and human being in this country. And the big una, the one una. Una only there if I permit una for there. And the very first law where they put by una for respect the law. Una there for listen, but not for take part for what they happen done. Only the one they won't have been elected as members of parliament and me get the right for exchange conversation. Una not for take part. Una just stay for the read and listen. It's done. Now we say you are here to be seen and not to be heard. And if I hear one disturbance from any one of una, especially where the leader of the opposition don't just remind me not once, but twice, for say he not feel safe, in members they not feel safe. And the temperature they go up. If I hear one disturbance and they clear the gallery, una all get for common. And what you una come for candidacy, una no get that benefit. So una advise una self and advise the company who sit down next to you. You are then maintain quiet and decorum. If not, I will stop the proceedings or make sure say would rep una all come on. I'm not going to hesitate for do that. I hope say una yeri o. I not say me una answer me. I hope say una yeri o. Creole man say and which man say talker. A word for the wise is quite sufficient. You don't know. You don't know.
I think we have said it all, but in the last sitting we agreed that we should have the public involved. That's why I cited the provision in standing orders. And again, let me assure my colleague on the other side, and all of us, that our security is paramount, and we think we have put in place all the structures so that we are safe here, we are wise deliberating. And because of deliberation, we cannot ascertain if individuals' physiological mechanism that has to do temperature going up or temperature coming down. It depends on your behavior. So because of that, I will encourage my colleagues. This has to do with constitutional instruments. Let us participate and your security assured. And Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, and I believe we have so many things to do for the day. Crave your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, that we start the business of the house so that we can finish on time. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just now you are giving us assurances or admonishing members of the gallery not to be heard. But when you spoke, they responded, indicating, Mr. Speaker, that it will get to a time where you might not, just might not, be able to be in control of what they do up in the gallery. And Mr. Speaker, let me remind you that the leader of government business was just saying, now he's here. But before he came, the damage caused now cannot be repaired. Because effective you are thrown at us, our leader and ourselves who came here this morning before we got to your office.
In the chamber.
In the chamber of the house.
Chamber.
And Mr. Speaker, we don't deserve that at all. If the business of the house will continue, let us have a situation where we all feel safe and secure. We are not feeling that way at this point in time. You have tried. The leader of government have done well. But we still do not feel safe, and the environment is not conducive for us to continue in this particular situation, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, he has called my name.
And Mr. Speaker, let me remind you that these are not just strangers. They were brought into this world for a purpose, and that is why we say we don't want them to be part of this position.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I said in my first statement, we have had a lot of anticipation, whether the good, whether the bad. We are not going to fight with that. We are here representing the people. It's very clear, Mr. Speaker, in our minds that we have the other people. I was not here when the honorable leader of the opposition said. So if that is the case, Mr. Speaker, you are the presiding officer, you are the speaker of this house. We can investigate the matter. We are all the things on the camera. And if you are investigating, if you are in our chamber, we can investigate you too. If you misbehavior in our chamber, we can investigate you. We are on a full view of camera. We have camera all over this chamber. So if there is a case for us to proceed, you can make your motion if you want us to investigate. We can leave off with that. But that cannot put us in abeyance in discussing the matter of belief. Very important. So if you think you feel aggrieved or what happened, because I was not here, you can move for measure for investigation. We have a secret evidence amongst us, which you can use. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg, if they want us to investigate, let them move the motion. Parliament can do so under your directives. So let us continue the order of the day. I respect this.
Mr. Speaker, all the time we have wasted, Mr. Speaker, is deliberately coming from the side that does not want things to continue. That is, those insisting that the people should continue to be here, even though we are claiming that we are not safe. Mr. Speaker, the time we have spent addressing this issue, we would have cleared the gallery by now. Who is going to search all of those people? You are trivializing the world temperature. But I told you that the environment is not conducive. And you cannot work in an environment that's not conducive. There are people in this chamber, some of us are fortunate, we don't have high blood or something. People are here who are taking pressure medication. You don't know them. It's their personal life. So, Mr. Speaker, had you done what we requested to ask these people to leave, by now we would have gone far. Why the insistence on them staying? They are not going to participate in the debate. Mr. Speaker, they are here not to be heard but to be seen. So what value are they going to add to the debate? Why are we insisting that they should stay here? They are only needed here because their presence will add value to the people who are intimidating other colleagues in the chamber.
Mr. Speaker, may I remind my colleague on the other side, on that very day, first, when we started the debate, we said we asked for SMEs to cover our food. Let me come, and they did not participate. We accepted that one. We came the second day. They have a constitutional instrument to be laid first before discussing the bill. I said, I assured you that on Tuesday you will get constitutional instrument. And if we have it on the other paper. We understand that we re-emphasize and we re-echo it that we need the public to participate. That's the motion, that's the rule in the game. These are the public. These are the public. They are here to listen. You have used your powers within the ambit of the Constitution, the standing order, to give directives and instruction. You even invoked SO2. What else can you do? Why can't we go take them outside? Tomorrow you can meet them. We have FBC, we have SFP, we have among the people. We are not displaying particulars here. Can you allow me, please? I'm going to continue. Mr. Speaker, they have no empirical evidence to prove to us that these people in the gallery, I see them as Slovenians. I don't see them as belong to political parties. They are Slovenians. You want to tell Mr. Speaker, under the directives, under your leadership, are you going to take Slovenians out of the chamber? The people's house, the people's representatives' house, they voted this in out. They voted for us. If you are saying they can take us out, Slovenians in the gallery. Well, point of order, please. Why do we have the gallery? The gallery is meant for who? We have the press section. We have the diplomatic section. All the rest for the public. Mr. Speaker, we have it in our standing orders. If we don't respect strangers, why do we have it in the standing orders? SO 79. Why a leader, a very democratic leader of the opposition, a man asked his character, a man who has contested election as running for a major political party. Why is he asking us to take the people out of the chamber? Why is he asking us to take the out of the chamber? Mr. Speaker, you are a Democrat. I have voted for. I have no substantial proof, and they have no substantial proof to tell us these people are SFP, FPC, NGC. You can only identify me as FPC or SFP or NGC if I put on my political colors. Point to anybody here. They are not. Even if they do have, Mr. Speaker, it is their democratic right to represent their party in this chamber. Because in this chamber, we have FPC, we have SFP. I beg them for the sake of God. I have respected their views. I have succumbed to their demand. I said I will put on the other paper constitutional instrument. I have been promised them that before we conclude, Section 108 must be fulfilled. A and B, that we have to do the constitutional instrument, which I have done. Today we have the instrument in front of us. What are we talking about? Are we serving the interest of the people of Sierra Leone, or are we serving our political parties? Mr. Speaker, I urge you with due respect, sir. Let us continue on the day. I respect case.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, to a large extent, I agree with the leader of government business. And it is because of that reason, that is why we are insisting, because we are Democrats. For me to believe that it is only through party colors I can identify people, if he has that magic, I don't. Because you will have an SLPP supporter who will be a red, or an APC supporter who could be a green. That will not identify a supporter. So I beg to differ. Mr. Speaker, we are Democrats. As he said, the first instance, we sent notices to the SLBC to cover it live. They attempted, but they could not succeed. The last time, they were not here. I know what they were not here. They were not. They tried to do their Facebook Live. Their viewership was like 0. We followed them. Today, Mr. Speaker, yes, the public is here. But are they here to be heard? No. They are not here to be heard. And we have called on the public to participate by sending contributions, not to witness, if that is their own decision, if they want to. We want them to participate by sending in suggestions. That is how the public participates.
That internet poor.
I'm talking to the speaker and he's busy.
Yes.
So, Mr. Speaker, as I said, we could have addressed this time ago, but I wonder why the insistence on keeping this same and very number in the gallery. There are reasons behind it. You know the reasons. You know the reasons. That is why they insulted MPs this morning. That is why they used invectives of MPs this morning. That's why they were chanting their usual slogan. That if they were APC, they should have chanted something else. We have the tapes, they're on video. They were chanting the party slogan. They were chanting their party slogan. So it shows where they belong, Mr. Speaker. I don't want to go into details that are not of relevance. That is why I'm focusing on the issues. They are on tape.
Mr. Speaker, point of order, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, point of order. Mr. Speaker, you agree with me. You would agree with me. I will leave an example. Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, I'm listening to you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a few moments ago, the leader of government presents rules on SO 79. I think we have the order of the business for today. It's already past 12:30, Mr. Speaker. This issue has taken more than 1 hour. Mr. Speaker, like the opposition was saying, let me also make my own point clear as Chief Whip of this House. We have 3 or 4 political parties in this House. We have the APC, we have the SLPP, we have the NGC, we have C4C and Independent. These are our public, these are the public, the parliamentaries. If one political party is saying that the spectators there, the visitors should go out, we are saying from our own side that they should stay. Take your judgment. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, point of order, Mr. Speaker. Mr.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Mr. Speaker, you would agree with me that on several occasions, especially on state opening addresses of the President, the galleries are more congested than today. And on all of those occasions, we have never as a political party requested that you clear the gallery, because we know that this well is the well for the people, and the people need to witness our deliberations as parliament. But Mr. Speaker, you would agree with me that it is very unusual, very unprocedurial for the gallery to be sending modern invectives on members of parliament and our leader. And even threatening to attack members of parliament. Mr. Speaker, if that has never happened in this house, and we have never requested you to clear the gallery, and today we are having clear indications of those very incidences, I'm sure you should be particular about the safety of members of parliament. Yes. And again, the leader of government business did say that it is the right of the people to witness a program of this nature. I agree, 100%. But again, it is the right of members of parliament to be safe under such an atmosphere. So if the gallery has exhumed or has deliberately threatened the existence of members of parliament in this way, Mr. Speaker, I keep insisting that we are not safe contingent of what has happened before this sitting.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker. Hold on. I've listened to the various speakers on this important issue. I am mindful of a request made to me not too long ago by the leader of the opposition himself, when he said the bills that are before this house today are of such moment that the public should be involved in the deliberations of this house. And even requested me to invite the SLBC to cover the proceedings of this house. So I would have thought really that seeing the gallery as full as it is a fulfillment of the wish expressed by the leader of the But it seems I was mistaken. I did not read him correctly, because now, even though we've got in the house what he had wanted to see, he's now asking or saying that he doesn't feel safe.
No, Mr. Speaker, you are misrepresenting me. Mr. Speaker, you are deliberately misrepresenting me. And I wonder why you are doing that.
No,
but you are deliberately misrepresenting me.
Forgive me.
My words.
Forgive me. What a minute you and I should not have an altercation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Forgive me if I do.
Okay.
In that case, please restate to me what it is that you have said.
Mr. Speaker, I said, and I will repeat, that these people in the gallery.
Not today. Not today.
Oh, no, yeah, Mr. Speaker, not today. Mr. Speaker, using the pauper way of doing things will not work. Everything is done pauper. It will not work.
Mr. Speaker, can I observe, please? Mr. Speaker, can I observe, please?
Mr. Leader, allow me, please. Mr. Leader, allow me, please. Mr. Leader. Mr. Leader, please allow me.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Mr. Speaker, point of order. Mr. Speaker, we are asking you, your good office. They have alleged a series of allegations by invective language against them. I said, this parliament, in this chamber, we are on a full view of camera. Full view of camera. All of us, we have a camera in the chamber. I have other members. Can we, let them move emotion? If they think that was really and affecting them, let them move emotion, investigate. That is one. But we don't need to stop or try to forestall the business of the day. We don't need to do so. Okay, we depend on you, we rely on you to give us ruling, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, I've heard you. When I spoke just now, wait a minute, when I spoke a little while ago, the leader of the opposition said I have misrepresented him.
Correct, Mr.
So please let me give him an opportunity.
Thank you very much,
to set the record straight.
Mr. Speaker,
and to remind me of the conversation that we had. Not today.
In chamber.
Not today.
In chamber. Is it not the chamber? You will say there. In this chamber, Mr. Speaker.
I want to believe so.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, the conversation we had is simple and straightforward. We did not ask to invite party supporters to come into the chamber and rain invectives and menace. That is not what we asked. We never asked for that, Mr. Speaker. For people who will walk into the chamber, intimidate, insult, and rain abusive languages on MPs. We never asked for that, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, please, just allow me to observe.
I know that voice.
Last was never what we asked for.
Okay.
And we will never ask for that.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, will you be satisfied? And this is the last time I'm making this attempt. This is the last time I'm making this attempt. Again, in an effort to get us started, I'm again assuring the members in this house that the safety of all of us, as far as I can see,
that's it,
is guaranteed. And the presence of the gallery visitors is conditional. I've made it once, I'm making it again. That if I get one iota of disturbance from any quarter in the gallery, I will instruct that the galleries be cleared immediately. This is to allow the proceedings to begin. Let us see how it goes. Before I make a ruling on the matter one way or the other. One side wants the gallery cleared, the other side wants the gallery maintained. The middle ground I'm suggesting now is we maintain the gallery on condition that decorum is maintained. If I hear any disturbance from the gallery, then I'm afraid I will order immediately that the galleries be cleared.
Mr. Speaker,
Now, I'll proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate your efforts trying to bring the back on track. But of course, I usually say that it has not worked out well. Harassment that we, members of parliament, can sit here and perceive people from outside coming here to insult us. And this has been the point as concerned.
As honorable member, I notice you just come in. I'm not asking for an applause. What I want to remind you of is this.
I was around, Mr. Speaker.
Those directives were issued before the commencement of this sitting.
And you agree that does that make it correct?
Oh yes, it was reported so to me. And I have no reason to disbelieve. But
they are on table.
No, I have no reason to doubt. What was reported to me?
You are undermining the very process of this whole debate. What we are saying, Mr. Speaker, is that the members of Parliament are most unhappy with the manner in which they struggle. And whether we like it or not, what has happened is attempted to cause of trouble. And we are very, very satisfied, Mr. Speaker, that you have come to the realization that this is not an accepted manner of running a parliament. Mr. Speaker, I have listened to the leader of the opposition trying to make a case for himself and also make a case for members of parliament. But the fact of the matter is that we have not been able to settle what actually is the matter. The matter is, Mr. Speaker, that members of parliament feel very unhappy, aggrieved that people came here and insulted our members.
Mr. Speaker, I think you have summarized the point. Mr. Speaker, you just said a few minutes ago that you want to sit in the middle. One side is saying let them stay, the other side is saying let them go. You want to be in the middle. But we are saying, as accurate as you've said, people are insisting for them to stay because they have invited them. That's why they don't want them to go.
Not to worry about that.
We are, Mr. Speaker.
Because while I am sitting in the middle, my ears are wide open, my eyes are wide open, and I will be seeing and observing.
Mr. Speaker.
And the moment I see a threat of any invective or disturbance from that quarter, I will do the needful.
Mr. Speaker, let me take a cue from you, as I said earlier. Mr. Speaker, it is correct. Mr. Speaker, as I said to you earlier, had we addressed this issue, Parliament would have produced its business long time ago. But because some of our colleagues believe that they don't want to disappoint the people they have brought, they don't want them to go back, that is why they are insisting. Because they know next time when they call them, they will not come. That is why. They know when they call them, they will not come. But we want the public.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Let me show you. We are honoring men and women on this other side. We ask yourself who invited us. We are paid taxpayers' money. We made a request through a good office, and you have respected that one. And I diplomatically remind you, Mr. SO 79, I will take my time to read. You are in tune with SO 79. I will read. Let's stop accusing us with no evidence. And we invited people. If we do so, you are not afraid to say so. Because we want the public to listen. And let me read 79. SO 79. Strangers shall be admitted to witness debate in the chamber and committee sittings under such rules as Mr. Speaker may make from time to time for that purpose, provided that where it is necessary that the deliberation be held, both in camera, Mr. Speaker or the chairman shall put forthwith the question. There strangers to withdraw, end of quote, without permitting any debate or amendment. Notwithstanding anything in this order, Mr. Speaker or chair or the chairman may, whenever he thinks fit, order the withdrawal of strangers from any part of the house. Mr. Speaker, you have done that already. You have reassured us. 42, Mr. Speaker, let me remind you. You know why you ask Speaker? Because we want to maintain the rule of law. We are MP because we are responsible for legislation. 42. The decision of the chair, final. Decision of the chair, final. Mr. Speaker in the House and the chairman in any committee shall be responsible for the observance of the rules of order in the House and the committee respectively. And their decision upon any point of order shall not be open to appeal and shall not be reviewed by the House except upon a substantive motion made after notice. Mr. Speaker, why waste of time? You have moved, you have talked to us. I don't need to like you because you have been already abandoned. But let me believe in your leadership. That you have demonstrated on several occasions. And in the of the opposition knows that. So we are begging our position on the other side. What they told me and what I have done, we have a position instrument on the other paper. Let them allow us to do so. But Mr. Speaker, it's the right of members in the stand order to enter the chamber and leave the chamber decorum. It's not stand order. It's in the stand order. So it's to be there if they want to say anything. If they want to move.
I want to acknowledge SO 42 and SO 79. I want to acknowledge SO 72, 42 and SO 79. I have my SO and I am conversant with those two SOs, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, these SOs resume everything and everything is normal. That's what these SOs resume. What happened this morning has never happened in this chamber. Never. Never in this chamber. So, Mr. Speaker, I still see no reason why we keep insisting on allowing invited guests to stay of the gallery. They are not here on the evolution, most of them. Most of them are not here on the evolution. I met with one Bokari along the steps, not Honorable Bokari, one Bokari. And we had a conversation, Mr. Speaker. Yes, he told me that he came from the party office. And he did not come alone. He said we come for
Mr. Speaker, his name was
wasted too much time.
Not no more, please.
Una cambia now. Hey, Edward, una cambia now.
Just cambia so no.
Fully charge your face.
May I be heard, Mr. Speaker? May I be heard?
I will allow the leader of
as well.
member, leader, C4C, you have the floor. I want to make a ruling.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, out of crave on indulgence of the two bigger parties.
will do it. Mr. Speaker, what you dare say they don't say? One of the member gave me such a manner. Dare say they don't say. If your member wants to behave, Mr. Speaker, we don't really now. Their member has behaved. Their family was to their member has behaved. What a ruling of party we have. They are very unruly. You are unruly. I will say that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
I stand the House down for 1 hour.
Let me come to my business.